Hey, everybody. Welcome to Buzzing About Romance. I am Becky, and joining me for this episode are Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Becky.
And Leah. Hey, Leah.
Hi.
And Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, Becky.
Jenny, it's finally not 62 degrees in Ohio, and you have a tank top on. Like,
Yes.
we had like 90-degree
I'm
weather,
burning up, and it's just going to get hotter.
right? We had 90-degree weather in May, and
Yeah.
then over the weekend, it was like the furnace kicked on one night because we forgot to close all the windows.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 I was like wearing a sweatshirt and
Yeah, don't
It
rub it
was-
in.
shoes.
So I am only like 3 hours east of them, and it was 47 degrees when my kids hopped in the pool yesterday morning outside.
You're mean. You're the worst mom.
The you could see the steam rising off the pool because the pool water was so warm. Like they didn't care.
And Amanda, what's your current temperature?
Hey, we are actually in like the low 80s.
Oh,
We
okay.
got a nasty
Oh.
storm run through and
The
get us
low
to get us out of the
80s.
90s. But there was a tornado just south of us at 11
Ugh.
o'clock this morning, and Fort Lauderdale and Miami are flooded.
Oh,
Oh.
So
good times.
know.
Good times in
Yeah.
Southeast Florida there.
it's good.
Mother
So
Nature needs to get her shit together. Tornadoes in Florida? I mean, seriously.
So weird. Hello, global warming. So on this episode, we are actually discussing Savor It by Tarah DeWitt. This is a traditional published novel that came out at the end of May. So it's been out a little less than 30 days,
hmm
which not the best planning. I should have given everybody like 30 days, but you know,
Yeah.
We try.
we were really excited to read this book, I think.
Yes, I was.
So stick with us for the next little bit while we break down the enchanting details of Savor It by Tarah DeWitt. Things to know before we get started. The release date was May 21st of 2024. Tropes. Small town. Foodie romance. There was some amazing food rep in this book. Grumpy sunshine. This is a guardian single dad. I guess you would classify him single dad.
Yeah, because I mean
Yeah, kind of.
he's the guardian and he's
He's
single.
parenting.
Like he's single parenting,
He's
yeah.
single parent guardian romance. Slowest burn of slowest burns of slowest
I knew you were going to be upset.
burns.
But I wasn't
read
mad about
slower.
it.
I wasn't either.
I thought it was fine.
Two read slower, just recently read slower. Next week's is slower. But the chemistry.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. We'll talk about it later. Next week.
Fuck, Becky.
The chemistry for this book was out of the park. Like they
Mhm.
had such great banter and chemistry, I think.
Yes, it
I
did.
agree.
And the pacing on this book was fast, which helped.
It really was.
Yeah, it read really
Yeah, there's a
fast.
lot going on.
Mhm.
So this is close proximity neighbors. This is
And-
go ahead.
But there's so many floofs too.
There are a lot of floofs in this book.
So many floofs.
This is a standalone, and that makes me sad to say that. And I do not know if she has plans to
Oh my
visit.
God, she's not writing. We need this, like the sister-in-law and the brother.
Yeah.
I
And the other brother.
we know
I
no-
don't
The
really
other
care about
two
the other
brothers.
brother. Well, that's true because yes.
Yes.
There's multiple
Are
brothers.
we not getting more?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I-
It is not listed that this
Yeah,
is a
I will
multi-book deal.
say, like, as soon as I hit the end of this book, I went searching because I really need Ren and Ellis's story, like, so
Yeah.
bad.
I don't know, Tarah DeWitt, if you are listening or watching this, could you please send us an email or send us a direct message and let us know if there's plans to write the siblings books?
And if there aren't, please write the siblings books.
So I did go look at her marketplace deal on this. This is
Mhm.
Oh,
book
yeah.
2 of a 3-book publishing deal. But it
Oh,
But the first one was a standalone too.
was.
Oh man.
So, or maybe this is book 3 of a 3-book deal. So, like,
But they
there's
were
not.
all the co-op is
Yeah.
the third one, and it's not in this world.
Yeah. So I don't know if the brothers get books or are going to get books, that if she's going to sell the series.
Oh my God, please, because I
I
need
know.
these freaking characters.
I
Like,
yeah.
need them.
The guy literally fell off a cliff, and we're not gonna get like.
Yeah.
Well, and the other one, like, he gets cut from the baseball team and shows up back in town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
And we're not going to get that story?
I,
Like, these two are pining over each other. Pining
I have no
for
answer.
years. And we're not getting that story?
yeah.
I have no
I don't
answers.
know.
What did you make me read, Rebecca?
This was not my pick. This was Amanda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
sorry,
is
that
all
was me.
Amanda's fault.
Amanda.
Jeez.
Damn it, Amanda.
I'm sorry. I need it too.
I know, but I just needed to say it. Now I feel a little bit better.
Okay, this was dual first person point of view.
Can you get through this now?
I'm just really worried about Leah. Like, I'm actually worried mostly for Tarah DeWitt. Like, the DMs
The messages.
this friend might be getting.
I don't do that. Unless it's somebody I feel comfortable doing that with, too. Like, if it was Krista, I would totally do that.
I just feel
I don't
like
know if I would do it to Tarah DeWitt.
you feel a
I
little
have
next
some
level here,
standards,
sister.
people. I have standards.
Okay.
There are standards to my crazy.
We'll frame your
sucking.
restraining order. It's
Mhm.
fine.
Anyway,
There is a third act breakup, and I have to tell you, I love, you all know, I love a third act breakup. I want stakes over vibes. I want substance over feels. This book gave it to me, but the collective I took when
Oh, yeah.
he went back and back
also,
early.
let me just say, chapter 37, like, bawling. Bawling. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
37. If you don't remember, you should. But chapter 37. I even wrote it down because I didn't want to forget the
Just
number.
wanted to curl up on the daybed couch in the sunroom with her and just hug her.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was
Okay.
rough. That's
So
rough.
put out percentage of this book was 79%, but they did get a little frisky earlier on, but it was a fairly slow burn.
Yeah.
Mm.
But there's some stuff.
There's some stuff, but also, like, once they broke the seal, so to speak,
they really
there's a
liked the
lot.
library in town, and I can't
Yes.
believe like they didn't get stumbled upon in the library.
But it was like her
Well,
special place in the
Their
library.
private spot.
Yeah, and it's a small town. There's not many people.
There's not a
in-
lot of people in the
yeah.
libraries in small town. Like, I've been in my library where I'm the only person in there for like an hour.
Okay.
Right.
So the audiobook narrators for this were Carissa Vacker and Zachary Weber, and it was exceptionally well done. Exceptionally well done. Carissa did an amazing job voicing Sage, and I fell in love with this book. They did a phenomenal job. And Zachary Weber was so funny, especially when he's interacting with his niece,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Indy.
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 Yeah, it was so funny. Even when he everybody shows up when they first come to town,
Oh, yeah.
and he's just like, you know, it's the robot.
And the
Yeah,
So
this
I
is
thought
pretty good
that was-
meet cute.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry.
thought it was going to be an animal with wings, and Becky was going to have to like.
Oh,
Stop.
DNF, that was going to be done.
Yeah.
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 I actually thought it was
There
going to be
are
like a
few animals
groundhog.
with wings in this, though.
There were.
But they don't get off the ground, so
This is true.
This is true.
we're okay.
So this book is available everywhere. You likely could probably find it in your library. It is not on Hoopla yet, but the audio is available in AnyPlay. And that's from Lindsay because she did listen to it on AnyPlay. And she said to tell everybody she loved this book. So
Yeah.
She
And
just had to
lots
travel.
of notes, but
Yeah, she did.
she had to travel. So
Mhm.
let's talk Savor It by Tarah DeWitt. This was my first Tarah DeWitt.
Same.
Mine too.
And I was exceptionally impressed. And
Mhm.
for me right now, trad pub books are hitting better than some of the indie books, which is very unusual for me to say. And I really thought this one was going to be fade to black,
Hmm.
or closed door because I had gotten them mixed up with BK
Oh, BK Borison.
Borson. Yeah. Because their covers are kind of similar.
Hmm.
They kind of came on the
Yeah,
market
and
at
they
the
were
same time.
trending around the same time last year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I going into this was not sure what I was getting into. I just hoped and prayed it was better than the Megan Quinn book. And it was.
The bar.
It was. It
The bar
was.
is not very high when you say that,
No,
though.
it's
No.
not.
I
Well,
mean,
but rom-coms can be rough, right?
It
yeah.
can be, yeah.
And this
But
one,
this one had all the elements that we really liked. It had good banter. It had great characters. Like, and it really was not even just Sage and Fisher's story. Like Indy, like her growth throughout the book was like a really great side story that they had because
yeah.
she was like a pivotal element in a lot of it.
I
But I
really
like that.
I liked that dynamic even starting out. So the book starts out in New York City and I was like this is supposed to be a small town romance. What the fuck? But we get insight to the small town right there in the beginning. Um and everyone like, "What's the dildo in town?"
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be a fun town."
Uh-huh.
And then we get Fisher his point of view in New York City and he's a grouch.
He
Well, he's
is.
just so lost also.
Well, and I felt like his character was incredibly relatable with grief. I mean, we've all experienced grief in our lives.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But then that moment that your grief is intertwined with who you are and what you're doing
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
And he felt like he was lost at sea without a lifesaver. I mean, like,
Well, and I think one of the best parts of his character though is like he he made it. He was doing exactly what he wanted. Like he met the goals that he wanted and found that sometimes like it is not always happy. Like you can do everything that you want, but that doesn't necessarily like your goals don't necessarily like make you happy with like your life. And I think that was a big part that resonated with me is the fact that like looking as he looks at his life there, he's like, I did it all, but was it worth it?
yeah. What did
Yeah,
you
there's
go ahead?
oh
No, I was going to
there's
ask you,
a
Jenny, what were
very
your
like
thoughts?
okay, there's a very like philosophical like undertone through the whole
Yeah.
book, like
Hmm.
for both him and Sage. Because like everybody, I mean, we all get inducted into these clubs in life that no one like asks for membership.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
um, but that's part of life. So then it's kind of like what do you do with that? And they're
Hmm.
both figuring it out in different ways. So like finding the balance between the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. Amanda, what did you think about Fisher and Indy's relationship there in the beginning? They were on the struggle
Oh.
bus.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were seriously on the struggle bus. But you could tell, I think, underneath it, even though they're fighting and they're coming at each other from, just different places. I mean, you could still feel like they wanted to like be together as a family. She wanted him in her life and he wanted her in his life, but it was like, he didn't know what to do with her. Like he wasn't prepared to have her. And, neither one of them were prepared to lose her mother, obviously, but it was, I don't know. I felt such immense, like, just like grief for them, like together. Like I don't know. I wanted like them to be happy.
I
Well, and I think it really showed like 15-year-old girls are hard. Like
Yeah.
being a 15-year-old girl is hard. Adding losing your mother and then living with your grandparents and then be like
Yeah.
just going through all of that, it really showed like the turmoil that this 15-year-old girl is going through, especially when she is not in the typical place in her life. Like, because most 15-year-old girls are not still dealing with the loss of their mother. Like, and it's just so much upheaval at like a
Yeah.
really like important time of your life.
thought what was interesting in this book and the way that Tarah DeWitt chose to kind of unfold this story is the parallels between when he was the new kid in town
Mm-hmm.
and then being the new people in town in Spoons.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was really interesting because that was part of one of the things that Fisher himself had to get over and accept, is that not every small town is like the one his parents moved him to, the one that
Mm-hmm.
Indy was living in when her mother died. And I think that he had such a hard time accepting that not every place is the same, not every person is the same.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what Jenni talked about, like we all get inducted into these clubs, but we also sometimes take those first snapshot impressions and don't ever let them go. Like we just always look at them and think, yeah, whatever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's that person. And really, they're not that person anymore. And you don't have to be that person in a new space and in a new time. And the emotion that Tarah gives us, and we see that arc, that character arc, that arc of understanding for not just
Mm-hmm.
Fisher, but Indy too, I thought was exceptionally well done.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Sage, and then we'll come back to Spoons, because Spoons itself is a place I
Mhm.
love.
Yeah.
Like, can we go for a road trip? But let's talk about Sage. One of the things that I just loved about Sage, and it wasn't even her thing, but that her mother had given her that journal
Oh, yeah.
of sage
That was-
advice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it was just
Well, and like when you
perfect.
get those little like snippets of what's in the journal, it's like that is really great advice.
Yeah.
I think I
Like it-
highlighted every one of those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I was
I
going
think
back
I
and
did
looking
too.
today. Yeah.
It was just like the way that she wove it into the story. It just, I mean, there was purpose to it, but like it was just so perfect, and I love that.
It was also something special for her. She was the only girl with these brothers that were larger than life. And her mom saw that. Her mom saw that she needed something that was hers and hers alone. And
Well,
I just really liked how Tarah DeWitt sprinkles that in there, creates that connection to the past, but shows it as a foundation, right?
well, and that's the thing too. Like her mom passed away when she was what, 9, I think she said.
9 or
Or
12.
9. Well, was she 9 when her mom passed away, or was she 12 when her dad passed away? Because both parents
Oh,
have
yeah.
passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
she was
she
12 when her
lost her
dad-
mom at a very young age. And so like I just love the fact that like her mom, even like when she was little, like had the foresight to say like when Sage gets bigger, like she's gonna need this. And it wasn't even a thought like where she was sick or anything like that. Like she just created this amazing piece of herself that actually ended up being that much more sentimental because she did pass away at such a young age.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the one thing, like with Sage and Indy, like when they first met, they were having like the competition of like who has it worse.
Who is it worse?
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
I was orphaned at this. Well, I was orphaned and then blah 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 blah. Like I just really enjoyed that interaction with the two of them.
The other thing with Sage is she was content.
Yeah.
And it was, my life is good. I like the life I lead. Even
Mhm.
though she had been pigeonholed into a certain role in the town, she still was happy.
Yeah.
And she found enjoyment. And I loved all of her rescue animals. We had Lego the cat.
Legolas.
Legolas.
He was Legoless because he was a
Legged
three-legged
cat.
cat.
I just liked that, her menagerie.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment when they go to that farm,
Oh yeah.
it's just like, don't
Yeah.
let me take everything home.
Yeah. The
But I
pygmy
like-
goats.
Baby
But I
goats.
liked that she defended herself too. Like she
Oh,
held
yeah.
like because Fisher says something at one point. I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but she's like, yeah, it is okay that I am this way. Like it is okay because I choose to do this. Like I choose to live my life the way I do. And I thought that was like one of my favorite parts.
Because he says that she's too nice.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
She is nice. And actually, as Susie says, she got the references to the town sign were not forks,
Yes.
but she was pronouncing the name of the town wrong. And I will tell you, the only reason I got it right and knew that it was Spoons was because I listened to the audiobook.
Uh-oh. The
Oh.
forks, like, the
That's what
forks got it for me. I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
get
because
it
the
now.
first couple times I was like, what the heck is this town name? So I was just
Yep.
making things like I was just naming it like whatever like S word I could think of in the moment.
Well,
But
let's
then-
talk
but then the
about
town sign
Spoons,
came.
Oregon, which is its own character in this story,
Mhm.
which if you're going to give me small town, give me small town with character. It will
Yeah.
make me so happy. And this book gave me so much joy. Like,
Well, because the book opens and like they're standing there and there's this new construction and it's like a giant penis.
yeah.
And they're like, oh my. Oh my.
Well, and it's in an area, the parking lot that they always use for like their market and their summer festival. And are these people going to let them use
Mhm.
the space? And who are these people? And like the town authority lady.
Oh,
Right.
she's
Oh my
honestly,
gosh.
she made me think of like my mayor.
Your mayor
Oh,
Yeah.
just blackmails the town to do what she wants.
Not even that, just like her attitude and things like that. Like the way she's so like crazy about keeping the town a certain way. And she doesn't, yeah, it made me think of the mayor of my town.
that's funny.
And that's the other piece that was interesting too is everybody had a role to play in town. And it
Mhm.
made sense what their role was. And it just added so much to that story, right?
Yeah,
It
and I
really-
felt like it didn't go too far into the kitschy either,
Mhm.
because sometimes we get those small towns and you get the funny, but it goes like a little too
Too
far
far.
where it annoys you.
Well,
But I didn't get that here.
Stacy says
Mm-mm.
she loved the town and that it failed at everything. It
Yes.
tried to be
The
niche
town
in.
exhibitors.
But it was so different to most of the other small towns that she read. And that's just it. Like, this was not the sought after town that everybody wanted to live in. They were kind of their own joke.
Yeah.
They were a hot mess.
They were. And when she basically blackmails Fisher into being her partner for the race,
Mhm.
I was dying. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is. But,
Well,
he totally win the food competition.
Mhm. But I like the fact that she had reasons for wanting to do the race, but like when she sees the ex and the new girlfriend in the library, she like almost doubles down, but the way that Fisher like took care of her in that moment was super swoony.
It was super swoony.
Yeah.
Fisher is absolute book boyfriend material.
Yes, he is.
I thought one of the things that was interesting in this book was, Sage and Fisher had that immediate attraction,
Mhm.
that hilarious meet cute where she shows up and all her brothers are there and they're like, he
And
can't
her
turn the
kimono,
can't
Oh
turn the
yeah, her
vacuum off.
robes.
all her robes.
But I thought that one of the things that was really great that we get is Sage is kind of sneaky in how
Well,
she forces, not
She has
forces.
3 brothers. Like, she
Yeah.
knows.
She's a
That's
queen
true. And she's the
manipulator.
baby. Like she's the baby of the family.
Yeah.
So like the sneaky, like that comes naturally.
But she manipulates not just Fisher, but Indy into doing all these things around the farm. And
Yep.
Indy's relationship with the goose, and again, then
Very
chapter
kinky,
37,
kinky.
Yes.
and I'm like,
Yes.
what? The goose?
Like he imprints on her.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
they're together forever. I'm just like, anyway,
You know they can get depression.
right? Like when she yells at Fisher, I mean, we are jumping ahead here, people, but
Yeah,
when Indy
sorry.
yells at Fisher about wanting to go back and the goose,
But also like when she's like, have you ever cooked goose?
right?
And he's like, well, I lived in France. Of course I did. And she like freaks out.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. I just love that whole part. I mean, it tore me apart, but I love it at the same time.
Well, and also with this relationship dynamic with them, the way that they spend time together really helped the chemistry
Yeah.
and the desire. So you can give me that slow burn that, kind of smoldering connection that, it was there at the instant we had the spark and then it just smolders. You
Mhm.
can do that when you give me a relationship with stakes, right? Because that's what this book had that we haven't seen in some of the other books that I'm not going to mention that we read. That, like there were stakes here, right? Like we
Mhm.
knew that quality time, interweaving them into each other's lives really was important. And it was important for Sage, right?
Yeah.
That there was
Yeah.
quality time together. And also when she gets sick and he
Mhm.
cares for her, microtrope. Microtrope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like he cares for the animals. Like he basically like takes over for her.
Yeah.
The noise canceling headphones was like it
Oh,
for
that
me. I
part.
was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh,
So swoony. Well,
There's just so many little things that he did, like that were unintentionally sweet. Like he didn't even like think about it, and he didn't realize like how romantic and swoony those moments were. Because even when they rolled up to the race place and they were gonna just like run it for the day, and Ian and Chastity, as he called her, were there, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do this,"
yeah.
and they like smoke them.
Well, and there were things that like, we got this emotional experience not just with Fisher and Sage, but we saw it with Fisher and Indy, but then we also see
Mhm.
it with Fisher and himself.
Yeah.
But the
yeah.
way Sage lives her life, she had a lot of self reflection, um, finding happiness and how it resonates deeply for herself. Like, she knew who she was, right? Like,
Hmm.
I don't think she ever questioned, I want to be more than a teacher. I
Yeah.
She just wants to win a stupid race and get a trophy. Like, that was her year.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, but you still have the side piece where she's doing the stuff with the flowers that,
yeah.
and it makes her really happy. And he tells her, he's like, you can take these things that make you happy and make money on them. Like you can turn this into something like it was almost like she didn't quite feel like she had was good enough to like turn that into a business. And he was like, yeah, you absolutely can. So I feel like she still had a little bit of self-doubt and he was able to like help her out with that.
Well,
Yeah.
it's almost like she needed somebody to give her permission to
Yeah.
like
yes.
take that step. Like she knows that she can like grow things and they're beautiful, and so she gives them away, but she
Yeah.
needed somebody to give her permission to charge and be like, this can be something that I make money for.
Yeah. So I
Um,
think he was obviously the more emotionally stunted one in this situation, but I still
Hmm.
feel like they both like gave something to each other, like the whole time I was reading it, I was like, this is a perfect example of like right person, right time.
Hmm.
it
Like
is.
I
Well,
don't know. I was
and
I was getting
mature
in my feels.
communication. Don't you think? Like, I
Yeah.
love miscommunication. We all know that. I
Yeah.
love it. Give it to me. But this one was a great example of communication and care, and the care that you give when you listen and see people.
Well, and also like there was a moment where like things like felt weird, like when they were training, and like so she called him out on it. It's like, why are you avoiding making eye contact with me? Like, why are you avoiding this and this? And it's so like they weren't afraid to talk to each other about like hard things also that might not have seemed like a hard thing, but it was at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. Even like at their darkest like moment,
Hmm.
she's like flat out like, I can't do long
Yeah.
distance. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that there was that time agreement. They both understood it. Neither one begged them, kind of like what you said, Jenni. She's like, I'm not doing long distance. It's not who I am. I
Hmm.
need the moments, the day to day interactions, the touches. And they both accepted where each other was at. And there was that mutual understanding that our time is limited. We don't know what things will look like after. And this is just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Um, and I really appreciated that. Um, so the humor in this book, I thought was exceptionally well done.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. There were funny moments.
Well, but it was subtle. It wasn't like that in your face slapstick.
Yeah.
Like it was subtle and
Funny.
it was real.
Yeah.
But the animals were part of that though too. And I think that like when you have that added element, it makes it just flow a little bit
Well,
differently.
and the town, like the town
Mhm.
meeting, you know, all of those things.
Like when the diner owner had the chinchilla in his pocket and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, does the chinchilla go into the kitchen?
I was having the same worries.
Oh, were you in feels with Fisher on that moment?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I like grilling burgers with a chinchilla just like popping out.
It's like a Ratatouille moment.
Yeah, not cool.
But they're so stinking adorable.
I just wanted his name to
Mm.
be Remy, like, you know, like
Oh, that would have been
Ratatouille.
a good one.
Wouldn't that have been hilarious? Look at Jenny. She's like, no,
But he was
Becky.
Walter. I mean,
He
that was
was
a good name
Walter.
too.
And also, I have to say, like, there were so many moments, like when they're interacting with the diner and she tells him like he wants to retire and whatever, and
Mhm.
like because that was like at 50% in the book that we learned
Oh,
he
yeah.
planned to retire at the end of the summer.
Retire.
And in my head, I'm going, by the restaurant, by the restaurant.
I know.
Come on, Fisher,
No.
stay. And then when he doesn't and he makes the decision to go back to New York, I'm just
But I
like,
will say
what?
his reasoning for going back to
Yep.
New York was very sound. And if he hadn't went back, you would have been really mad at him.
I would have been really mad
So-
at him.
Because
Well,
he went back for Indy. Like he
yeah.
made the choice to go back for her. And he finally recognized, like, I need to do anything I can for her because I messed up.
Yeah.
And I have to make the right decisions for her, no matter how much it hurts me. Like I'm doing that.
So do you have a specific moment between any of the characters in this book, a moment in this book that will leave a lasting impression on you? Not the chinchilla in the pocket. Like are there any
that
other?
will. I do like when Ren, the best friend who I really adored, was asking her to describe him, and she's like, "Oh, he's a hot pirate," because apparently she was reading a lot of like pirate romances for
Yeah.
a while, and so she's like, "He's a hot pirate," and she's like, "Oh no, he kind of is," but she doesn't want to admit it. But I did really like Ren, the best friend, and we really need her and Ellis, the brothers, story. So I'm just going to throw that out there again for anyone who hasn't heard it yet.
Well, and you know, I did love that little subplot between Indy and Ren's son.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I liked that it was a parallel relationship.
Yeah.
And that Indy was finding community, but then she questioned it because how many of us have done that too? How many of us have
Well-
thought, "Oh, I found my people." And then you think, "Oh, this is too good to last. Like I'm not really one of them."
But when you hear her backstory and like what her mom went through as a teen mom and like the way that the town treated her, like she has this bias going into the small town to start with. And like she was so miserable in like the town in Nebraska that she lived. So like she kind of went into it already knowing she wasn't going to like it. And I think the fact that she felt so comfortable there scared the crap out of her.
Sure. Well, because, you know, is she going to get close to these people and then be the person they're gossiping about?
Yeah.
Are these true friendships or is this just I'm the new girl and they feel
Yeah.
sorry for me? Did Sage pay them to be nice to me?
Yeah, I think that was the big thing. Like fear was like her motivation, like once they were there for a little bit and her lashing out and her reaction, like again, like she's a 15-year-old girl who's still like in the throes of grief, but it made sense.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't out of character.
Jenni, did you have a favorite moment or?
I don't highlight very much, but I did highlight a lot in this book.
There's so
And
many good times.
yeah, well, and like just again, like the philosophical like element to it, like there's a time when a Fisher like tells Sage like he doesn't know how to defend her from herself. Like she's having that self-doubt in her head, and he's like, I can't defend that.
I don't know how to fight that. Amanda, did you have a favorite moment in this book?
I have so many.
Look at Amanda. She's like so
Yeah,
swoony and
like,
like,
Let me
I'm
scroll
pulling it up, but
through.
I mean, I really did. I had so many. We've talked about a lot of my favorites, but there's a part that I have highlighted, and he asks her, I forget what he asks her, but basically, like, she's like, "Oh, are you just being nice?" And he was like, "I'm capable of deciding when I want to do something as well." And he's like, "I'll
Mhm.
admit, like the first night I met you, I would have done this out of politeness." He goes, "But this time I mean it with my whole chest."
yeah.
And like that was the point for me where I was like, okay, he's starting to get through his grumpiness. Like he's starting to like realize, that this place is cathartic. Like she is meaning something to him at that point. And I don't know. That's one of my first like
Well, that her
spots.
intentions are good and true. The
Yeah.
emotions are
Yeah.
good and true. And my like this was not my favorite moment. Ellis falling off of the cliff, and it's
Silas falls off the cliff.
Silas falls off the cliff. And Silas, everybody has to, she runs, right? Because these are her brothers.
Yeah.
She's a caretaker. And she gives up her own dream of this competition, right? And, but the town surprises her and
Yeah.
shows her just how important she is to all of them.
Yeah.
And I think that that was an aha moment that she really needed. And again, this is what stakes in a romance book look like.
Yeah.
You can get those warm, soft, fuzzy vibe feelings that everybody's talking about when they say, like, I just love this book. I just vibed with this book. You can get that and still give us stakes. Let me say it again for those in the back. I can have vibes and you can still give me stakes and content to hold on to. And it was a moment.
Just so much depth in that moment.
Right. It shows like not only her own, showing that she has place. She's not just the kid's sister. She's not just the teacher. She's not just the ex that never wins. It shows that they all care and love for her and she has community there.
Yeah. And she's a vital part of it.
Yeah. And she
Mhm.
matters. She's important. And we all want to feel that, right?
Yeah.
And it was a nice parallel to Fisher, that she was important to him, but he had to figure out his place and where he fit and where he snaps in. So I really liked that. And it just, to me, it was a really great way to show that you can have big swoony vibes, but you can also give me something to chew on a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. We're going to go around now and do our thumbs up, thumbs down, unless there was something else y'all wanted to talk about.
I mean, I could talk about this book for hours, so
Yeah.
we might as well just move
I think
on.
this is quickly a top read of 2024.
Oh yeah. I mean,
For
it's
sure.
going to take something monumental to knock it off of my number one spot.
You haven't read Everyone I've Kissed since you got famous. That's all I'm going to
Okay.
say. Anyway,
Just came out yesterday.
it just came out yesterday.
I was going to say, I haven't got, I was like, I don't think it's out yet, is it?
No, I mean,
Yesterday.
it is yesterday, but I'm just saying, again, anyway. So thumbs up, thumbs down. We'll start with Amanda. Amanda, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Obviously, thumbs up.
Leah, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
Jenni.
Way up.
Way up. Jenni, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
So for me, this is like 2 thumbs up. Like I loved this story. This shows me that Trad Pub can do it, right?
Yeah.
They can give us a really solid, well-written stakes story. And also that rom-coms are okay and I don't have to be a complete bitch about
Well, but
slow
also that
burns.
rom-coms don't necessarily have to have over-the-top humor. You can do subtle, you can do gracious, you can do like the little, and it's okay.
Agreed. Okay, so if somebody really liked this book, what books do you think they should also check out that have similar vibes? Does anybody come with any? I made a list.
I have one.
I got one.
Whole list.
I have In a Jam by Kate Canterbury.
Oh, that's a great one.
Oh.
I didn't even think of that one. There you go. Jenni, what do you have?
Farm to Mabel by Krista Sandor.
Oh, that's another really great one. Look at you guys. I didn't have that on my list either. Amanda, what do you have?
I had Anything for Love by Melissa Foster. It's Beau and Charlotte's book.
Okay.
Mm.
Is that in the Braden Montgomery?
Yeah, it's number 2 in the Braden Montgomerys, and so they're kind of like out in the middle of nowhere in Colorado, and he comes out to like help her like fix up the inn or whatever, and
Okay.
like they've both been through some recent grief, so
Anything else?
similar vibes. That was the only one I had.
Okay, so I have Irresistibly Wild by Jay Salmon. He is raising his nephew after the loss of his brother and sister-in-law. Next to Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. Both are raising siblings. And it has that slow burn, but again, lots of stakes and swoony vibes. Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. He's raising his niece. And it's a second chance romance, and he's very inept. And she's a tween, so it's kind of funny because, like, he doesn't get it all. Something Real by Hope Ford. This was an interesting one because her sister is finally graduating college and getting married. And so it's how is life after you've raised the sibling?
She's done.
She's
Barney.
done. Yeah. But she ends up connected to a single dad and wanders on the cover. Just saying.
I mean,
Oh, there you go.
Memory of Mistletoe by Carrie Elks. The hero in that book is raising his 17-year-old brother. And again, small town vibes. And that one's like pretty good comparison, like for like almost, in that he's grumpy. He doesn't want to like the town, but it's the only place they can go to be together. And she loves the town. Boone by Sawyer Bennett, Riggs by Sawyer Bennett, both raising siblings. Still the One by Carrie Elks, again, raising siblings. And Beautifully Broken by Catherine Cowell, with a little bit of suspense in it. Go
I
ahead.
have 2 more.
Oh, I thought you said you had one. Okay.
No, I said I had a couple this
Okay,
time.
sorry.
So Dr. Scandalous, she's raising her sister, and she's a little bit older, but then also Man Candy by Vanessa Vale. Like, that's a really good one because, like, again, it's an older sibling situation where it's like, what do I do now that, like, she's in a relationship and like out of college type of situation.
Yeah.
Oh, I would add Wrecked Palace by Catherine Cowles.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I
that's a
just
good
thought
one
of it
too.
while you were talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, that one would be.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good one too.
He's
So
very grumpy.
in our on the shelf show notes, I will start adding our recs. I haven't been doing that. And
Here,
it
I'll
just
add
dawned to
mine
me
to the
today.
doc.
So
yeah.
starting tomorrow morning, you'll be able to find the list of all these recs on our on the shelf show notes at buzzingaboutromance.com. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out and joining me. Make sure you join us for happy hour tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We're excited. We will be chatting with the first 3 authors of the Bang Brothers series. This is a multi-author series set around the thrilling world of hockey, featuring 5 brothers, 1 sister, and their matchmaking mother. I've read book 1 and book 2. They're delightful. I really am so excited to keep going into this series. This series is Elise Faber, Jamie Davenport, Kat Mazzara, Gina Z, Kelly Jamison, and Catherine Fox are the authors involved. And tomorrow night, I'm chatting with Elise, Jamie, and Kat. So make sure you're back here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. And don't forget to tune in on Sunday night for our next episode, Books Under 350 Pages.
Yeah, I had to think about what it was
Yes.
for a minute.
And then next week's Sip and Discuss book, remember, we changed it. We are now reading Bet Me by Jennifer Cruzy. And you won't want to miss it because that book is 20 years old, and we'll let you know if it still holds up. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for talking about Savor It by Tarah DeWitt.
It was a really good one.
It was a really
Thanks
good
for
one.
reading it with me, so I wasn't alone.
Good pick, Amanda.
It was a good pick.
Until next time, everybody.
Happy reading, everybody.